Sunday morning. Bill and Poundcake are your affable hosts for the Week in Cox. Mary is out next week. Mm-hmm. And we're looking ahead to the beginning of the Guardians season 1 week from today. Is, of course, the season opener. The Guardians opening day is going to be in Kansas City. And that is an afternoon game. So next Thursday, we'll be here for a couple of hours, but then 4:10 is the first pitch. The Guardians against the Royals. And then we'll be live downtown, not in our new digs. We'll be live downtown for Guardians home opener against San Francisco Giants. Regular show time because it's a night game. And we'll tell you where we're going to be very soon. And if you can come by, we'd love to see you. We haven't seen a lot of you in a long time. So that'll be something to look forward to. I mentioned yesterday, on something completely unrelated, we have a lot of bureau chiefs in the greater Portland, Oregon metropolitan area. And there's a woman in Portland who is opening up a sports bar that will only show televised female sports games. It's called the Sports Bra.
Oh, boy.
It's the name of the place. It will feature exclusively women's sports. It's not only women who can go. Guys can go. Kids can go. It's called the Sports Bra. And this is a local chef who said, look, 40% of all athletes are women. 96% of all athletes on television are men. And she thinks this might be the first bar of its kind. So they're going to have, female chefs. They're going to have, Final Four women's. Anybody paying attention to the NCAA women's? Anybody know who's in the Final Four for the NCAA women's tournament?
I can guess.
Are you running a women's bracket?
Elizabeth, Samantha, Kaylee, and Margaret.
I was going to guess UConn, I think South Carolina. Tennessee's not the powerhouse they used to be.
So far, you're 2 for 2.
What's the other one? Is it Virginia?
Nope.
No. Okay.
Louisville and Stanford.
Okay.
South Carolina against Louisville tomorrow night, and then UConn versus Stanford after that tomorrow night.
Yeah, half of them.
Yeah, no, that's great. I wouldn't know where to start.
Those are the perennially very good teams in women's college basketball.
They're playing at the Target Center in Minneapolis. But the Sports Bra in Portland, Oregon opens tomorrow. And they're on Instagram. Their Instagram handle is More Than Just Balls. Eat, drink, watch women's sports. And the Sports Bra opens in, because the Sports Bar, Bill, would be B-A-R.
I got it.
Bra, B-R-A.
And who wears bras?
Women.
Got it.
And fat men. They say it's not a sports bar for women, just for women's sports, so anybody can go. You want to watch, they will have a place for you out there in Portland. They say, let's keep Portland weird. It's probably weird for a lot of people. But what's the matter with that? Alan, wow. I just hung up a signed Mary Santora Crushing It poster in my house, and now I find out that she hates us. I might be taking it down.
I don't hate you.
Listen, if you were here for our last explosive segment before the break, where Mary finally divulged that she hates you, the audience, listen, over the course of a nearly 30-year career, I have had, I've had contentious relationships with my audience. Of course, it's going to happen. Like any other relationship. I have, in years past, had a much more adversarial relationship with my audience, to be sure. I have never told you that I hate you.
I throw around hate.
Always good to throw around hate. She tells Bill daily that she hates him. Yeah.
Multiple times
a day. Great word to throw around.
I don't mean it. It's just like...
How do we know what you mean? I take people at their word,
I
man.
say, like, when I get annoyed
I take people at their word.
God, I hate you so much. That's what I'll say when I'm
I know.
annoyed.
Yeah.
Right. I don't actually hate anybody.
Just walking it back.
Walking it back.
Whatever, add it to the list. I hate anyone who's
flip-flopper.
ever done anything nice for me. Is that what you want me to say? Anyone who's
Nice
ever
for you?
Anyone who's ever supported me.
No. You weren't saying that to be able to support you. You were saying you didn't like how the audience was not doing a deep dive on the nuances of your argument. You said, fine, I hate them.
I'm just like a 5-year-old stomping my feet. That's all I'm doing. I'm throwing a tantrum. We'll get over it. We'll get over it. I am sorry. I come with my hat in my hands, blanket in hand.
Blanket in hand.
And I say to you, accept my apology. Please.
Well, you know what I say? Never complain, never explain. It's my personal motto. But when you tell the audience you hate them, I can't save you from that. I can't help you.
Well, you just have to understand where she's coming from, Alan.
I guess that's true.
Yeah,
She probably
you
hit her
see
breaking point,
yeah.
and she swung. She lashed out. She hit her tipping point.
You don't know the relationship between me and the audience.
That is true.
You don't know what goes on behind closed doors.
She's going to Will
between
Smith your
us.
ass, audience.
You have no idea what the
is
audience
true.
has put me through.
That is true.
And one little call.
Put you through?
That seemingly innocent call. I'm not blaming anybody but myself.
But are you going to start throwing bricks off of overpasses?
No, I am not a 15-year-old with ADHD and a bad home life anymore. So no, I won't do that.
Alan, all joking aside, my parents and siblings called me retarded as well as a few others for about 15 years. I talk to none of them now, and I'm happy to do so.
See? It's a problem.
Yeah, I guess so. Why would you...
It actually became a
people
term
are-
of endearment in my house. This is how screwed up my family was. So everyone in my family would call my brother retarded, and my dad would lay it on thick. And then he tried to spell it one time and spelled it ratted, ratted.
How old was he?
I don't know. He had learning disabilities his whole life, but I don't. He wasn't young because I remember it, and he's like I think 7 years older than me. And so then ratted became a term of endearment in my house. So we'd be like, hey, what's going on, ratted? Like, that's how my dad would call us and greet us with that term. So,
But you can make an argument that that's at least better than calling your brother retarded.
but it stemmed from that.
No,
It
I
had
understand,
become
but I
used
mean-
so regularly
Yeah.
in our house that it turned into an inside joke.
Yeah.
And then full circle term of endearment.
And obviously that was a word that a lot of people threw around with no malice.
Yeah.
Like when I was a kid, that just wasn't a word that was in my peer group. It just wasn't, it didn't get thrown around. But I fully understand that a lot of people, that was a hard one for them to get past.
Yeah.
That was a hard one for them to transition to the R word.
Right.
I was going to
Because
say.
they were like, I didn't mean anything by it. And they're like, no, I get it.
Like, when.
I just didn't have experience with it as a kid.
Oh, that was one that was part of my regular vocabulary
Yeah.
until
Heavy.
I had a friend and his kid had Down syndrome, and he didn't even have to say anything to me. It was just one of those things where I was like, oh, I got to rethink the way I'm using my language.
And that's the thing that I don't get is when people still try to insult you with that, but they say you are tard. I'm like, no, if you're going to insult me like that.
People say R-tard?
Yeah.
I've not heard that.
I've not heard that either. They're just removing a vowel.
This was before they used, I don't even want to say the word, but.
It feels weird coming out.
I don't like it. I haven't used that word and I don't know, like.
Well, because you're not supposed to use it.
Over a
That's
decade.
why, yeah.
But just on the precipice.
6 o'clock, by the way.
It feels weird coming out.
What? Oh.
I don't get it.
You said it feels weird coming out.
I said that.
Oh, somebody said it.
Mary said it, yeah.
Well,
I'll make a note.
Anyways, when it was now taboo to say that word, they were like, oh, I'm still going to use it, but I'll, censor myself. So I'll call you an R-tard. So that right around the time where it was
But that's
like
not even
unacceptable-
censoring themselves.
Right.
Like,
Yeah, it's baby steps for some people.
It was literally a transition.
It's better, I
and then they
guess,
got
is
it out.
it?
It's just like, instead of, hey, I didn't say it, like the N-word. I didn't use the ER. I just put an A at the end.
no, but if you called someone, forget the R. If you called someone a tard,
Yep.
that would not be good either.
No, they did.
And this
I remember
person you're
people-
talking about is adding, all they're doing is removing a vowel.
Yeah, they would either say
So it's like
R-tard or tard.
either commit to it or figure something else out.
That's what I'm saying, and that's why I removed it altogether, because I haven't used that word. That one hurts. Like, because, I mean, it's just like with the N-word. People can't help that they're black, and people can't help that they're mentally challenged. And I'm like, oh. I had a friend with a little brother who was mentally challenged. And sweetest little brother, like, and I think
Who was that, Ryan?
No. But it was Ryan's friend. Okay. But I think his brother was actually older. And he was
did that. All right.
Way over his head.
Yeah, well, it was
Go ahead, continue.
No, that was all. But it was just the sweetest person, and I would feel bad using that lingo to describe someone who I'm talking about.
Yeah, my family was not politically correct.
I know, but a lot of people's weren't. Like,
well, but again,
they could care less.
But that also changes with time too. You know, things that were generally acceptable a long time ago are not anymore. But at the time, people wouldn't have given you a hard time.
No.
But again, like not my family, but like I've had members of my family laugh openly at people with mental disabilities, like deaf, dumb, blind. Mm-hmm. Because our family had been through the ringer. I'm like, well, you guys lost your sense of taste, smell, and sight because you guys were doing drugs. These people were born with it. Like, you guys can't see crap, you can't hear crap because you were snorting that stuff or taking shots of needles or whatever, and you messed your body up. And they're like, well, I can laugh at it. I'm like, you can't, though. They're like, well, yes, I can, because they're evil.
Who are evil?
My family member.
Huh.
He's dead now, so I can talk about him.
I see.
He was my mean old uncle.
This was a person who would laugh at blind people?
He would laugh at just anybody. He thought that they
Anybody
were
that was different.
He thought that they were being
struggling.
He thought that they were being punished by God. He was like, God made them that way, and I'm gonna laugh at him. And then
so he was a moron.
He was just mean. He was just a mean old dude. And then all he did was smoke weed. He did drugs when he was younger. I think he beat up all his girlfriends. So he died alone with diabetes, lost a leg, and we couldn't afford a plot for him. So, and we were like, well, do we really want to go to a funeral? And everyone was like, no. So he's in the ground somewhere, but we don't know where because he has an unmarked grave.
Yep. That's harsh.
He's mean. He was mean. Everyone hated him.
I understand. There are some people who think that everybody deserves a modicum of respect.
I think he got a casket, but that's still expensive.
No, I get it.
Hell, caskets are like what?
They put him in a pine box in a potter's field.
$6,000 for a casket alone.
Yeah, they're not cheap.
So he got that. I think he's actually.
Who foot the bill for that?
Probably my mom and my aunt. Well, Bill, this was right around the time of my graduation party.
Well, I didn't talk to him about your dead uncle.
No, but my mom was going through
Bill's
it.
munching on canapes. He's got a little champagne there. So who's footing the bill for this dead mean uncle?
Well, no, I'm trying to like think back how far that was. That was when I graduated college, and his funeral, like he died right before my graduation party. My mom was like, I just shoveled out like so much money for this party, and now I got to do this because people were calling and harassing.
So she was making you feel guilty about it too.
No, she was just venting, and I understood.
Yeah.
Because no one in my family has any money. My mom is the only one that went to college and got a good job, and my aunt, she has money too. So.
But they put your mean old uncle in a box.
I think above my grandmother, so they share a grave probably.
On top of your grandmother?
People do that.
They did that with my grandma. We buried my grandma and my dad at the same time, and she went on top of my grandpa. Just her cremains.
What do you mean they buried them at the same time? They died together?
No, my aunt had my grandma in her closet for 20 years.
The way you said that, it was
so they were burying
ashes.
an urn.
It was a box of ashes.
Right, but they weren't burying a coffin on top of another coffin.
Not a coffin.
That sounds like what he was.
Coffin.
That sounds like what he was describing.
Is that what you were describing? A coffin on top of a coffin?
A coffin on top of a coffin.
Yeah,
they do.
It's called coffinscaping.
We put an urn on top of a coffin.
Coffin skated. Yeah, no, they coffin skated his coffin on top of a coffin. Coffin skated.
Do you have to dig 12 feet down for that?
I don't know.
I don't know. I'm not
You'd have to plan that ahead of time.
I would certainly think you would. I don't know.
I don't think you have to go 12 feet, though. I think you can probably just go maybe 8 feet.
Oh, it's a graveyard. Like,
don't
our
know.
bodies really are. How often do coffins like rise to the surface?
No, but you would have to go further down for 2 coffins than 1. You would have to.
Yeah, I don't know.
Do we know
either.
why? And I'm just asking questions here.
Good. You should ask more questions.
Why do they Why is 6 feet how deep they dig?
I don't know. Maybe it's enough of a buffer. How tall is a coffin? A foot? So that way you have 2.5 feet.
Yeah, like I was saying, like a foot or two, probably.
So you have 2.5 feet on either side in case something happens? An earthquake or a zombie apocalypse or whatever?
I think that they were probably doing it. You know, if you go to other countries where the ground is soft or it shifts too much and they have to put them on top, like in sepulchers or whatever. You go to the Virgin Islands or, you know, a lot of places around the world, New Orleans, you know. But I think that all that stuff came from people not wanting to be robbed.
Yeah, that's
Grave robbers.
I looked it up, and that's what it says.
I think they were like,
preventing
if it's
theft.
There you go.
Really?
I think they were like, if we put them down deep enough,
No one's going to dig that
they're
far.
not going to take the time to. Yeah,
It's a multiple things. It's the preventing theft, to keep animals from
Digging
it up, and
Ew.
then also to keep the smell from coming up through the ground.
Okay.
and that's
Since
probably
we're
and that
asking
probably that
questions-
probably all predates like sealed coffins
Yeah.
too. So
Can I guess what your question's going to be?
Ready.
What's so bad about stealing from a grave? They're dead.
You're almost there. My question is,
why does grave robbing get such a bad rap?
hold on, you guys are getting closer. What is the difference between grave robbing and an estate sale? That person's dead, you're selling off all their things.
You're not removing it from their corpse,
So what? It's still all their things in a
but
house.
it's being voluntarily sold.
And you're
Grave robbers are like
purchasing it.
people are buried with valuables, so let's get in there. You're like modern day pharaohs or something. Are you honestly asking what's the difference between an estate sale
and grave robbing.
and grave robbing?
They seem, I'm just saying, while we're asking questions.
You know, while we're asking questions, guys, grave robbing v. estate sale. Where do you
Just because
fall on that?
one's above ground
Yeah, I think so.
and you can put an ad in the paper.
Now, what if somebody says we're having an estate sale? You got to dig Nana up.
Yes, whatever you can take, whatever you can get your hands on is yours.
This
Diamonds,
we're having a very labor-intensive estate sale.
jewels,
That's right.
scrolls, whatever you can find.
Scrolls. We buried Nana with a portion of the Dead Sea Scrolls, and you know, if you'd like to dig her up, she might enjoy that.
So whatever's in an estate sale is already in the will to be given away.
I think so. Yes.
My family's all.
or it wasn't mentioned at all, and they're
Right.
like, "This stuff's in the
We'll just
house.
get rid
and We're
of
going
it.
to
We
get
need
rid of it." Yeah.
Yeah. It's up to the estate to decide what to do with it. And then you go, oh, we don't need all this stuff, so we're going to sell it.
Right.
We're not having people break in and take it, though.
No, but.
Get her done,
But
Mary.
I'm saying that would be the robbing would be on the behalf of the family members. They're robbing the dead women of her.
Get on your hands and
Millions.
knees and dig, Mary. Dig for what you want.
You're right.
Get in. How badly do you want it?
I can see Mary with her ponytail all wiggling. She's in there like a mole.
Just her feet are wiggling out in the
I'm
dirt.
almost there.
I'm almost there.
I need gambling money.
Oh, God.
I can
Oh
see
my
her.
God! If I ever got so bad with gambling that
start-
I'm digging up
I can
graves,
see you do it.
She comes up like looking like she just worked a full day in the mines.
shove it up my face like this is
Yep.
supposed to be one of the Dolans. He's got all the money in Cleveland.
These aren't real pearls.
Rockefeller. Get him.
Damn it!
All right, I've got to take a break. If you want to get the last word in,